Welcome back to XCom. In this video, I'll be starting a new game and I'm going to set it up for the playthrough. Thank you to those who have signed up. As you can see, this is OpenXCom instead of the original version. This was created to give more options than the original game had. Different settings. Some people like to set up their bases differently than the default settings. There's certain things that needed to be fixed. I did select a few things. So the first thing I'm going to do is start a new game. On beginner. If I get through this playthrough, I may try harder levels. The first thing that you have to do is pick a base. And one of the noticeable differences that OpenXCom gives, it shows you your maximum radar ranges for all the radars you will get throughout the game. There are countries that are funding the XCOM program, and you want to try to cover as much globe as possible with your bases, so that you can detect the alien activity. So having this little display is very helpful when you're first starting out. I usually put my starting base here or here because it covers a lot of the area. One thing of note is, depending on where you put your base, it's a free base for the first one. Having your first base be free is important because when you build your second base, you will have to choose based on how much it's going to cost. For example, building a base in Europe costs $1 million, whereas building one here in North Africa costs you $650,000. Now, as you can see, if you click on that portion of North Africa, they're counting that as Europe. So it's still expensive. So for this playthrough, I'm going to choose here. And I'm going to name it Torch 1. And right now we only have the small radar. We only have a range of this area. In order to make it bigger, you have to build larger radars. And to do so, you have to come into this screen. I've got the default layout for the base. Some players like to redesign this because if your base gets attacked, the aliens will come through this access lift or in your hangars. And they like to lay the base out in such a way that it's easier to have choke points so that they can not be ambushed by the aliens. I have seen some playthroughs where even though they did redesign their base, they did have aliens spawn in these other rooms. Especially on a base that was a newer base and only had like one hangar. Because there were so many aliens to spawn, they couldn't spawn all in one area. So they popped up all over the place. To build a large radar, I'm going to place that next to this existing small radar. We have a general stores, we have a laboratory for our scientists, we have a workshop for engineers, we have a living quarters. The living quarters holds up to 50, a combination of your soldiers and the scientists and the engineers. And then we have our 3 hangars. This is the Sky Ranger. This is your transport shuttle. It takes your troops to the site of missions. And then you have 2 interceptor craft. These are fighter jets that attempt to shoot down the aliens. This is where you pick from other facilities to build. Right away you need to have an alien containment. Go ahead and get one of those started. Then you'll be able to start capturing live aliens. You have to have containment for them in order to research them. Missile defenses, they're not really helpful at all. You'll be attacked by one of the larger alien ships. Missile defenses will be useless against those. You'll want living quarters. We're going to build one more of those. We're going to start our research on laser weapons. This is important because we need these. So I'm going to start. We only get 10 scientists to start with. We will have to purchase more. And I'm going to start these just so they're already on the list. So now I'm going to equip my Sky Ranger. To start with, it shows that we have 8 soldiers. So we're going to go to the equipment screen. Every new game sets up your Sky Ranger. You can choose to leave it this way or add or take away items. They currently have some pistols and some rifles and clips for both of them. Clips are important because you may run out. There are also some heavy cannons with different kinds of ammo. There's rocket launchers and grenades. We currently have 8 soldiers. There's space for 6 more. You can have a total of 14 on a Sky Ranger. I'm going to be starting out with only rifles. We'll try other weapons later in the game. This is the purchase screen. As you can see, there are soldiers, scientists, engineers. You can buy more of them if you have living quarters. There's Sky Rangers and Interceptors. Those are your aircraft. If you have a free hangar, you can buy more aircraft. These are the armaments for your aircraft. Some players like to buy tanks, but those take up space on your troop transport. You won't be able to take as many soldiers if you buy tanks. You can have up to 2 tanks on your aircraft. Some players like to use the tanks as scouts because while you may lose a tank, you won't have a soldier die if the tank gets shot at. I'm not going to be using them. And then you can buy your weapons. And there you have the purchase screen. This is the sell page. If you want to get rid of items or sell them, you can go to this page. I'm going to purchase 6 soldiers, and so we will have a total of 14. We currently have 10 engineers and 10 scientists. We are using 34 of our 50 current living quarters. We're using 33 of 50 of our storage space. If a soldier dies, I will rename a replacement soldier and put a number after their name. There are medikits that you can research and then use during battle. I will not be using the medikits. If a soldier is wounded and survives a battle, they will be taken out of action. A replacement soldier will be renamed and a number added to their name. The wounded soldier, when they heal, will come back into action and will replace their replacement. A W will be added to the name of a wounded soldier as a medal. If the first soldier is wounded and survives again, they will get a second W. His replacement will once again replace him. It will be possible for 2 soldiers to be wounded at the same time for 1 person. If there are more subscriber names, a newer name will get a chance to participate in battle. I will be making saves and going back to earlier saves in order to detect as many UFOs as possible. I want to do as many missions as I can. So at this point I'm going to get things set up the way I want to start out.